Hello and welcome to the Let It Ride podcast, coming at you to preview week 3 in the NFL. Coming at you from my kitchen this week, unable to hide in the garage like I normally do because I am currently watching two of my kids are playing in the living room. So we may get a visitor pop in on this episode. Maybe they'll have some better picks than I have been giving out. But we did get back on track last week. Week 1 was really bad for us, but week 2 end up going 3-3 on the straight up picks, get a winner on the teaser of the week. So we end the week in the profit, 4-3 overall on our bets, but it really could have been a much better week. Easily could have been 5-1. That Steelers Seahawks under. I like the Seahawks all week. As I was doing the research for the leading up to the pod, I ended up switching my pick to the under. Just based on the way that a lot of the sharp money was coming in on it and a lot of the research I was doing on those teams' run defenses, and just really kicking myself for that one because I liked Seattle most of the week and kind of talked myself out of it last minute. So that one's on me. However, that Broncos loss is not on me. That leverage penalty, absolutely ridiculous, giving the Colts a second chance to kick that field goal. So I felt like we were on the right side there. So what could have been a 5-1 monster week turns into a 3-3 week. But we do get into the profit with the teaser of the week, thanks to the Chiefs for that late touchdown that looks meaningless, but cut that lead from 10-3 and got the teaser of the week to cash. So a profitable week. We'll look to do that again, starting with the Bengals taking on the Vikings. The Vikings, a 3-point favorite at home. The over-under sitting at 41.5. This over-under sitting at 41.5, and it feels like everyone has forgotten just how absolutely god awful this Bengals defense is. So this total's sitting so low because this is a matchup of backup quarterbacks. We have Carson Wentz and Jake Browning, but Carson Wentz and Jake Browning are two of the more capable backups in the NFL. We've seen Carson Wentz start and lead a team, lead a playoff team. We've seen Jake Browning come in and be a capable backup as well. And Carson Wentz at this point, he might be better than J.J. McCarthy. Now, I know J.J. McCarthy has only started 2 games, so he has a long way to go in the NFL. But at this point in time, I think Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than J.J. McCarthy. So this Vikings offense may get a much needed jolt. You have a bad Bengals defense. Add to that, they're injured. You have Logan Wilson questionable for this game. Cam Taylor-Britt also questionable. Shamar Stewart is doubtful. So a lot of injuries on an already bad Bengals defense. And the Vikings defense is pretty good, but they're also banged up. Harrison Smith is questionable. Alex Van Ginkel's questionable. Jeff Okudah, Greenard, all questionable for this game. The Bengals gave up 27 points to the Jacksonville Jaguars, 5.4 yards per carry on handoffs. I'm taking away the 2 Trevor Lawrence carries. Overall, they're 5.1 yards per carry. So just a really bad run defense. If you look at the Jags drives in that game, they had a touchdown drive, an interception in the red zone, a touchdown, another interception, a field goal, halftime, a punt, which the Jaguars threw on 3rd and 1 when you're getting 5.4 yards per handoff. I don't know why you're throwing on 3rd and 1. So just a questionable coaching decision there. A touchdown, a field goal, a punt on 4th and 2 in Cincinnati territory. Again, you're running the ball at 5 yards a clip. Why are you punting? So the only 2 punts were because of questionable coaching decisions. So the Bengals only forcing 2 punts in that game. In fact, against the Browns, they only forced 2 punts. They have the 3rd worst 3rd down defensive percentage in the league. 52% of 3rd downs they are giving up on the defensive side of the ball. This is a terrible defense. I think this Vikings offense, a lot of the skill players, Justin Jefferson, you've seen it on his face, getting very frustrated with J.J. McCarthy. Makes you wonder if this injury is even real or if it's just them kind of being like, oh, yeah, he's hurt. We're not benching him. We're definitely not benching the guy that we spent this top 10 pick on. He's not getting benched. He's just he's just hurt, so we're gonna bring Wentz in. So maybe they're just kind of a little wink wink here, and getting JJ some time to sit, let Carson Wentz get in here, and maybe give a spark to this offense. So we do have 2 picks on this game. So I'm going to take the Vikings -3 because I do think Carson Wentz is a better quarterback right now than JJ McCarthy, and that this Vikings roster is one of the better ones in the NFL, and that this Bengals defense is absolutely terrible. So all of those things coming together, Vikings -3, over 41.5, 2 picks coming from this game. So that leads us on to our next game, and it's going to be the Cowboys taking on the Bears. The Bears, a 1-point underdog at home. The over-under sitting at 50.5. Don't care. No, it's a high total. You cannot set this total high enough. I think this game is going to be an absolute shootout. Chicago allows the most yards per play in the NFL. The Cowboys allow the 3rd most yards per play in the NFL. The Cowboys convert 3rd downs at the highest percentage in the NFL. The Cowboys give up 3rd down conversions at the highest rate in the NFL. So punters simply do not exist in Dallas Cowboys games. Their secondary is an absolute shambles. They have no Deron Bland. Diggs is hobbled. On the other side, the Bears' top cornerback, Jalen Johnson, likely still out for this game as well. On offense, the Cowboys have a very balanced attack. They have the 7th ranked passing offense, the 11th ranked rushing offense, 3rd overall. The Bears on the defensive side of the ball allow the most points per game in the NFL. Give me the over here. I think there's going to be fireworks. We watched this Cowboys defense make Russell Wilson look like the all-pro Russell Wilson of 6 years ago. I think they're going to do the same thing to Caleb Williams here. Caleb Williams is finally going to look like the top overall pick that he was because he's playing this god-awful Cowboys defense. Remember, by the way, the Cowboys are my favorite team, so I I can see it. This defense is going to get gouged by everybody, but this offense is going to put up points. So over 50 and a half, I think you're going to see Cowboys games regularly be over this 50-point margin. So really like the over here. Don't think you can set the number high enough. That is going to move us on to the Cardinals taking on the 49ers. The 49ers, a 2.5-point favorite at home. The over-under sitting at 44 and a half. And unfortunately, the story for this one is the stack injuries at the cornerback position for the Arizona Cardinals. Will Johnson, Max Melton, both of their starting cornerbacks are going to be out for this game, which is why, by the way, you saw at the end of the last game against the Panthers got back in that game. They were able to start chucking the ball down the field because both of the Cardinals' starting cornerbacks were hurt in that game, and they're likely not going to play this week. So when you look at this Cardinals defense, they're stout against the run, but they are going to be in trouble against the pass with their starting cornerbacks out. So I don't think it matters if Mac Jones plays. I know Brock Purdy has a chance to play on Sunday, but with the starting cornerbacks being down, I really don't think it matters. Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, 2 solid wide receivers are going to be able to torch this banged up Cardinals secondary. When you look on the defensive side of the ball for the 49ers, they're allowing the 8th fewest yards per carry in the NFL. So this defense looking like one of the better defenses in the league, like they were during their playoff years. So really think this 49ers defense is going to be able to stop the Arizona run game, which is something that they lean on, and they're going to be able to pass the ball all over this banged up secondary. So give me the 49ers minus 2.5. One more thing on that 49ers run defense. So the 8th fewest yards per carry allowed, it sounds, it's a good, like, it sounds fine. It sounds, above average. When you consider that they absolutely bottled up Ken Walker in week 1, and then Ken Walker went out and absolutely gouged the Jets the next week. So that's a really good rushing team in Seattle that the 49ers absolutely bottled up. So Ken Walker went out and had 13 carries for 105 yards against the Jets after he got bottled up by the 49ers. So I think his run defense is really good. And like I said, a Cardinals team that really leans on the run. I think that the 49ers are going to be able to take advantage of that. So 49ers minus 2.5. My pick for this game. That is going to move us on to the Colts taking on the the Titans. And yes, I'm doing it again. I've picked against the Colts in week 1 and week 2 and lost both times. I'm going back to the well. I'm not buying Daniel Jones yet. Everybody else can drink the Kool-Aid. It's been 2 weeks. I watched 5 years of bad Daniel Jones. 2 weeks of good Daniel Jones is not going to undo all that. The Titans, a 4.5-point underdog at home. The over-under sitting at 43.5. 91% of the money line bets are on the Colts. 76% of the against the spread bets are on the Colts. Everybody is all over the Colts, but slow your roll on this one. Home division underdogs cover at a ridiculous rate. They play historically well against the spread. The Colts are absolutely the hype team. They should have lost last week. The Titans were hanging with the Rams most of that game before the Rams pulled away at the end. This is the first road game for the Colts, so their first 2 games were at home. This is their first road game. This is the Titans' second straight at home on a homestand before they go on the road for 3 straight. None of those things mean anything. I've just kind of talked myself into taking the Titans because everybody's on the Colts. But I do think this Titans defense is better than people are giving it credit for. And like I said, they were really in that game against the Rams before some turnovers late just kind of made that margin look a lot worse. And the Colts really should have lost last week. So holding my nose here, this number might even get higher. It opened at 3.5. It's already up to Titans 4.5. So getting a little bit of better value than when the line opened. Titans plus 4.5. Going to be my pick for this one. So the top 5 plays for this week, we're going with the Titans plus 4.5. We're going with the 49ers minus 2.5, the over 50.5 in Cowboys Bears. Finally, we like the Vikings minus 3 and the over 41.5 in the same game. That is going to take us to the teaser of the week. We are teasing the Seahawks from minus 7.5 down to minus 1/2 point. We are teasing the Texans up to plus 8. So that is going to be the teaser of the week. Now, I had someone reach out to me maybe after the week 1 podcast, I think, and said, man, I really kind of miss how you used to break down every game. So now I just do the top 5. If you remember, in the early days of this podcast, I used to break down every single game on the NFL slate. It's a little bit exhausting, not going to lie. But before I go, going to give out leans on all of the games that I did not touch on, starting with some buyer beware games. These are games that I'm not necessarily telling you to bet either side, but just telling you to beware if you're dumping your bankroll on one of these big favorites that a lot of people seem to be. So 70% of the against the spread bets are on one of these favorites. So starting with the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football at the Giants. The Chiefs, a 6.5 point favorite at the Giants. What have we seen from the Chiefs this year that makes you think they should be a 6.5 point favorite on the road against anybody? Not touching that game, staying far, far, far away. The Packers, an 8 point favorite at the Browns. The Browns, one of the better defenses in the NFL, really returning to that 2023 form. They're allowing the fewest yards per carry in the league. So the Packers offense could be made one dimensional. They're pretty reliant on Josh Jacobs. I think this could be a low scoring game. In a low scoring game, you don't want to be laying 8 points. So staying away from that one as well. Tonight's game, you may notice I didn't give out the bonus pick I normally do because I have no idea what to do with the Thursday night game. I'm definitely not taking the Dolphins, given how historically awful they played against the Bills. But the Bills, a 12.5 point favorite, and they have a very susceptible defense as it is. They have trouble at safety. Matt Milano, the leader of the defense, is out. And this Dolphins offense, I know the team is not playing well. The defense is awful, but the offense is at least kind of regaining their form. They're, put up some points against the Patriots last week. So definitely could see this game being a shootout and the Dolphins keeping it closer than that at 12.5 point margin. Completely staying away from that one. Just to quickly touch on my leans for the rest of the games: Commanders, Raiders under 44. These two teams, sneaky good defenses so far this year. Both of them allowing just 16.5 points per game. Taking the Steelers, Pats over 44.5. On the other side, I think the Steelers defense is getting by on reputation. I do not think they are very good. The Jets against the Bucks. The Jets are a 7 point favorite. Tyrod Taylor is a covering machine. 33, 21, and 4 against the spread for his career. 7-3 as an underdog of over 7 points. Tyrod Taylor, the ATS monster. Have to take Tyrod Taylor when he is starting. Rams, Eagles. I'm going to take the Rams plus 3.5. They kind of showed that they have the recipe to compete with this Eagles team in the playoffs last year. Really the only team that hung with the Eagles in the playoffs last year. I think the Rams will have revenge on their mind. I think they might just be a bad matchup for the Eagles. So Rams plus 3.5, my lean there. Taking the over 43.5 in Falcons Panthers. This Panthers defense is absolutely terrible. Give me the over. I think there's going to be some points scored in that game. A little bit of a contrarian play here. The Lions and the Ravens, two of the best offenses in the NFL. A sky-high total sitting at 52.5. I'm going to take the under. I think both of these teams are going to keep the ball on the ground. Neither defense is going to be giving up explosive plays, so maybe a lot of long, sustained drives. So taking the under 52.5 in that game. Finally, Broncos, Chargers. The Chargers are 3 point favorite. Give me the Broncos plus 3. The Chargers are a little bit of a hype team, getting a lot of love in the market. 70% of the against the spread bets on them as well. I think the Broncos need a bounce back game after that game against the Colts, so they're the more desperate team here. Give me the Broncos plus the field goal. That is going to do it for my leans. Again, my top 5 picks this week. We're going with Titans plus 4.5, 49ers minus 2.5. Cowboys, Bears over 50.5, Vikings minus 3, and over 41.5 in that same game against the Bengals. And the teaser of the week, we're teasing the Seahawks to minus 1.5, teasing the Texans up to plus 8. Those are my picks. That is the podcast. Thank you for listening, and I will see everybody next week.